Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our UBC Biomedical Visualization and Communication Information session this afternoon. As always, we have a lot to cover. We have an agenda to guide that discussion. And in a moment, I'll give a brief program overview and tips on how to participate in our Q&A today. It will be followed by Dr. Claudia Krebs, who will speak to the curriculum and the projects, and then followed by Bailey Lowe, who will speak about the virtual learning environment and the workshops in this program. We're delighted to have two of our current students joining us today, Carolina and Talha, to offer their perspective and for you to ask questions, followed by then obviously our Q&A. And so to participate today, we invite you to simply take a photograph of our QR code here that will bring you straight into our platform, Slido, that we're using today, or you can open up a browser on your device and type slido.com. You will be asked for an event code. That event code today is BMVC06. We'll be repeating this again during the course of the session. For user experience, we have muted your audio and you can choose to turn on or off your video. And then for anyone unable to join us today, or if you have to leave early, we are recording the lecture. My name is Aideen Cleary. I'm a coordinator with UBC Extended Learning, and I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Claudia Krebs and Bailey Lowe. Dr. Claudia Krebs, MD, PhD, and Professor of Teaching Cellular and Physiological Sciences, has been teaching neuroanatomy and gross anatomy to MD and undergraduates, biomedical engineering students, and allied health professions at UBC for more than a decade. And in 2017, she created Hackspace for Innovation and Visualization in Education, or otherwise known as the Hive. Bailey Lowe has been instructing UBC students since 2018 and currently works as a program coordinator for this program. For the sake of time, these bios are brief, and I invite you to study our website for full bios of our presenters today and our other instructors. And as I mentioned, we have two students with us today, Carolina Jung and Talha Qadir. Carolina graduated from Western University in Ontario with a degree in medical sciences. She is currently working at ALS Canada as a research coordinator, where she's become passionate about patient-centered medical communications and knowledge translation. Talha Qadir attended Simon Fraser University, where he completed a Bachelor of Science in Biology. And when he wasn't studying, Talha taught himself 2D and 3D software techniques throughout his time at SFU. He loves both sciences and decided to pursue this field to combine both skill sets. And now for those program highlights. So this program is a collaboration between UBC Faculty of Medicine, the Hive, which is a multidisciplinary hackspace for innovation and visualization. It's a collaboration with the Centre for Digital Media, which is a unique partnership of 4 leading BC academic institutions and leaders in the digital media industry. It is 100% online, so beyond two-hour synchronized classes and an optional team meeting each week or workshops, the program offers flexibility for students to incorporate this program schedule into your professional and personal schedules, and we'll talk about that more later. Our instructors, well, our instructors are a team of specialists, highly respected in their particular community. They all hold master's degree or higher and are experienced in adult education. And once again, I encourage you to visit our website to read full biographies. The program has a unique focus on diversity and inclusivity in biomedical communications, which will be discussed more during the upcoming presentations, as well as describing the immense value of peer-to-peer learning that students in this program witness as they study alongside individuals with different professional qualifications and backgrounds. Of note, this program is open to all nationalities, regardless of residency or citizenship status in Canada. Now, a little bit about the program format. I will go over this quickly because I do know that Bailey has more slides on this later, and she goes into a little bit more discussion. So for you to know, it's important to know that it is 100% online, instructor supported with real-time classes, workshop labs, and project working sessions. It's spread out over 3 terms, starting in January, concluding December 2023. It's made of 3 12-week courses plus a 12-week final project. So you see the 3 terms there. In term 1, which runs January 9 to April 7, there are 2 courses, Foundations and Managing Creativity. Term 2 runs in May 1st to July 28th, Human Structure and Function. The final term 3 starts September the 11th and concludes December the 8th, and that is the final group project. And again, more information on that later. It's important for you to understand the expectation. So in terms 1 and 2, an expected minimum of 10 to 15 hours per week to complete all online learning requirements using Canvas, the UBC online learning platform. There are more platforms you use, and again, I know Bailey goes into this in more detail later. Very quickly, so you can visualize how this would look in your personal, professional life, how you could build this in. This again is all online on our website, but very quickly, term 1 and term 2 are very similar. So on Sunday night, you're considering submitting your homework for Monday. On Monday, you're attending Managing Creativity class. Tuesday, you're considering your homework for Wednesday. Wednesday, you're attending the Foundations class. Thursday, you're probably reading, catching up. And then on Friday, there are the workshops and group critiques. Term 2 is similar, and then the capstone project. Mondays, you plan to meet with your group. Tuesday, you have completed your readings and pre-class exercises before the workshop. You have your workshop, virtual workshop on Wednesday, and again, Friday, more critique or technical workshop. Again, we will go into this in more detail. Now, who is this program for? Because I know you're coming from all sorts of backgrounds, which we hope to hear from about in a moment. But we do understand that learners, for the most part, emerge from 2 core professional or education backgrounds, and that's biomedical and professionals, health professionals, or media design and programming professionals. So you can consider the program if you're in a biomedical profession or health educator and you want to deepen your visualization skills. You're a graphic designer, animator, instructional designer, a media consultant, software engineer, designer, illustrator, and you want to consider the biomedical field and health industry, or you're in research as a researcher, scientist, or health professional. And I would implore that if you don't see your line of work here and you're still interested in this program, you are welcome to contact us and have a one-on-one and discuss your background, and we'll give more details about that later. But to date, it is still quite a new program. So to date, this is the background that we're seeing our students come from. And so before I hand you over to Dr. Krebs to discuss the curriculum, we do have a couple of poll questions that we'd love to get from you, again, to help shape the session today. So we'd love to know, first of all, when do you plan to take this program? And I invite you to join our Q&A platform, slido.com. If you enter through another browser, you'll be asked for an event code. The code is BMV06, or you can simply take a photograph of the QR code here on the left and it'll bring you directly in. So thank you. I see people are adding to this. I'll just, if you don't mind, bear with me. I'll just take a moment to wait for people. I can see people are continuing to join. So I see people are still arriving. For people that are arriving, our Q&A platform is in Slido today. You can take a photograph of the QR code, it'll bring you right into it. Or if you join it by a browser, we have an event code, which is BMVC06. You should be seeing that on your screen. Okay, thank you for that. I'll move on to the next question, which is, we'd love to know, what field of work are you engaged in now? Feel free to add if you're involved in different fields, because we know many of you work in different fields, so feel free to add that. I see my colleagues nodding, saying yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I can see participants are still adding information. Fabulous. Okay, thank you so much. And now I'll hand over to Dr. Krebs to speak to the curriculum and capstone projects.
Thank you so much, Aideen. If we can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to take you through your sort of learner experience as you go into the program. In January, you will begin with 2 fabulous courses, and these really set the stage for the profession and for the rest of the certificate. The first one is managing creativity, where you will be learning how to manage your own creativity, how to manage your team's creativity, and how to manage relationships with future clients, how to work collaboratively in a creative space in a very effective and open way. Parallel to that is our foundations course, which we fondly call Seeing, Listening, and Communicating. This one is a multidisciplinary course where we have folks from journalism, creative writing, production experts. We have sessions on ethics and diversity. So we kind of put everything in there that you will need to set the stage for effective communication, which starts with listening and seeing. Once you have these foundational skills under your belt, you start your human structure and function course in May. And this is a semester long, well, it will take up the whole term. We'll have 2 sessions a week. And now you will be applying all of those principles you learned in January to April in the biomedical field. We'll take you through the human body in its structure and function, and all of the assignments, everything that you will be doing in that semester will be applying the foundations that you learned first. So all of the projects will integrate that. You'll be working collaboratively. This is a core principle of our certificate. Managing creativity is managing collaboration. In the assignments, May to August, you will be put into small groups to work on group projects. You also have individual projects, but we know that one of the skills that employers are looking for are effective collaboration skills. And we are really focused on that because we believe that it is absolutely critical for effective innovation and communication in this field. And then in September, things get very real. You'll start your capstone project. Now you're still inside of the safe environment of a classroom and this course, but you'll be working with clients that are in the industry. These are not pretend clients or academic projects. These are real clients from industry and academia who have a need in biomedical visualization and communication. And they'll be working with you as a student team to develop a prototype that is useful to them. Next slide, please, Aideen. So here again, that capstone project really where you're looking at that intersection of the technology and user experience, the design, art, and communication, and the biomedical topic. And all of these things come together in a collaborative effort for a final deliverable for your client, and then a presentation to the class. Next slide, Aideen. Okay, I think I'm going to hand it over to B, who's going to talk about some of our previous projects, because we are incredibly proud of the work that our students have produced and are producing this year. And we'd love to brag about their fantastic work. So B, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Krebs. My name is Bee. I also go by Bailey, and I'm the program coordinator for the program. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some examples of projects that we've had in the past. I'm not able to speak about projects for the upcoming fall term because we have not released those topics yet to our current students, but we will be talking about those later as we get into the fall. So the way that the capstone projects work is we organize students into groups of 4 to 5 students, and usually we have about 5 teams per cohort, and it has a range of topics and deliverables. So we've had clients in the past who are researchers at UBC who are looking to have illustrations, animations, and different presentations made so that they can apply for funding. We've had patient-centered nonprofit organizations be our clients, global clinician organizations as well. Next slide, please. So this is one of our projects that Olivia, Jaden, Cynthia, and Vienne worked on last year, and they created a patient-centered flip book guide with a comic style for the Heart Life Foundation, which is a patient-centered organization all about supporting people who are living with heart failure. And so this was a guide to wellness through medication, and they made it entirely full of empathy and a human perspective on this. And it wasn't just, you know, here is a list of medications, but they really took the time to understand how a patient who's just found out that they are living with and need to treat heart failure might be feeling, and trying to make that so compassionate and empathetic. And it was a very beautiful piece. Next slide, please. And then this is another one that we had. Our students, Linda, Lex, Kat, and Winnie, created a card game for the Hive at UBC. And this was a project to make an anatomy study card game that was fun for medical students to engage with anatomy ideas, but also in a social and collaborative team-based way. And this card game, I've tried it. I tried the testing for the prototype. It was really fun. And we even had this card game published. And so it is available on GameCrafter to buy. We did have it featured and handed out as swag at the AAA American Association for Anatomy conference in April. And so it was shared with anatomists from around the world, and it got really, really good feedback from the folks at the conference. So this is also a really exciting capstone project. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to talk now a little bit more about the virtual learning environment and what you can expect from this online course, because the term online learning is, you know, it sort of means different things, especially in this semi-post-COVID era. So BMVC was originally designed to be a collaborative online program with both synchronous and asynchronous components. And it was intended to be online from the beginning. It was developed before COVID even started. So it has been a very intentionally curated to be an effective online program. So the three platforms that we use to sort of facilitate this environment are Canvas, which is the learning management system that UBC uses. And this is where we post all of our asynchronous readings, podcasts, interactive modules, and we use this to communicate with students about deadlines, assignments, and all of these things. All of our synchronous class discussions are hosted on Zoom. And so every Monday and Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time, we have a Zoom class. And this is where we expect everyone to do their best to come to all the classes, because they are quite interactive and involve a lot of participation. So they're mostly discussion based. We do small group activities in breakout rooms. And then this is also what we recommend students use to communicate with their groups when they're working on their capstone projects in the fall. And then while we are on Zoom, we use another really cool platform called Miro, which is a virtual collaboration space. And I will show you a little bit more in just a couple slides. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So this is an example of a screenshot from Canvas, which is the learning management system. This is where you can find things like the course syllabus, the outline, what to expect, different resources like the Van VR, you can see there in that list, and all Zoom links. So this is sort of your go-to homepage for course communications. Next slide, please. And then here's a lovely screenshot of our 2021 cohort on our very last day. You can see all of our students' lovely smiling faces, and it's really a wonderful energy that we can create by having Zoom and having the mindset of collaborating in a Zoom and virtual environment, as opposed to just, you know, keeping your camera off and sitting back and listening. It can be a very engaging and fun community to be in. Next slide, please. And then this is a screenshot of Miro, which is the collaborative workspace that I was mentioning. And this effectively works like a real-time virtual whiteboard, which it's super powerful for brainstorming, collaborating. You can see your peers' cursors moving at the same time to see when they post ideas. You can add different things. And it's a really, really fun tool to make just bridging that gap with the distance a little bit easier. Next slide, please. Okay, great. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the workshops. So every Friday, most Fridays throughout the year, we offer optional workshops. You could go to the next slide, please. So they are offered throughout the year, and there's a huge variety of topics, and it really depends on what our students are interested in. So we focus on digital design software, sometimes traditional media, we have guest speakers, different topics of interest. And these are the opportunity for students to explore new skills and ideas, and then choose what they like and apply those to their assignments and classwork. Because we are a part-time program, because we have such a focus on managing creativity and learning the foundations of diversity, inclusion, ethics, and all of those things, we don't have enough time in a class setting to be focusing on the technical skills of things like Photoshop or Illustrator and things like that. So we offer them in a workshop format instead, where we have people who are, you know, experts or very familiar with the programs, the different techniques, and they will lead a workshop to get you started, sort of pique your interest, introduce the user interface to you, and then they are available throughout the year for extra support. If you are working on a project and you have questions about how to make something work in After Effects, we have people available to continue answering those questions. Next slide, please. So in terms of technical skills workshops, we do teach Creative Cloud, the Adobe Creative Cloud. This is something that is included with the tuition, is the subscription for the year to Adobe. And so we have workshops in Illustrator, Photoshop, Audition, After Effects, InDesign, plenty of different Adobe softwares for you to get started with. We also teach Blender, which is a 3D modeling software. We have a wonderful TA, Ishan, who leads some really excellent Blender workshops. We've had workshops in figure drawing and line drawing, specifically with a biomedical focus, and then also watercolor painting. You could go to the next slide, please. So here are some examples of work that students made in workshops. So the two kidneys on the left side there, Harini and Talha, who's here today with us, they used Blender to model these kidneys over the course of 3 sessions of a Blender workshop. And then Andrea and Lauren made these watercolor neurons in a watercolor painting workshop as well. Next slide, please. And then in terms of sort of guest speakers, topics of interest, different interesting experiences, they're not necessarily technical skills. We've had this year, for example, trauma-informed conversations on human rights, career night with medical illustrators, where we had 5 medical illustrators working in industry come and do a Q&A with the students. We've had a Q&A with alumni, so we had several students come back who graduated last year to talk about their own experience. And then we also had a very cool workshop called Haptico-Visual Observation Drawing, which was led by Leonard Shapiro. If you could go to the next slide, please. And this was a very interesting 2-day workshop that we did, where Leonard, who's from South Africa, led a deep observation method where you take drawing and touch to really better understand anatomical structures. And you can see a screenshot of all the students in different places, zooming in to do this workshop together. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Carolina to speak a little bit about her experience and share some of the work that she's made in this course.
Thank you so much, Bea. Hi, everyone. I'm Carolina, and I'm currently enrolled in the program. So talking about this piece, I wanted to challenge myself a little bit and provide an illustration of motor neurons, which are the neurons responsible for muscle control. So I wanted to illustrate the pathway of the upper and lower motor neurons and also the structure itself. And I wanted to draw more realistically, but also one of the things that this program has really challenged me to think, it's how to make it approachable to an audience and how to make it engaging and thinking about the design, but also still thinking about, of course, being scientifically accurate. So for this, I had to use scientific references and medical illustrations and reference. And the program really helped me where can I find those and how to really verify them and how to properly use my references to build something like this. And I also really love the process of building this because it was built in several weeks. So in each week, we would get feedback from our peers and instructions and really answer any questions that we would have. And it was really helpful because everyone, of course, has a different background and a different level of expertise. So having that collaboration and feedback was just great and so helpful for me to get to this final process. And for my next piece. Thank you. So for this one, I decided to talk about endometriosis. And I decided to do a completely different format from my first one, which is a comic format. And this decision was also due to my classes that we had in the program with Sarah, which I think she kind of opened the door for me in medical comics. And I think that's why I am loving the program so much, because you get to see and like you're presented so many different types of biomedical communications that you might not even have considered before, such as comics. And the comics really gave it exactly the feeling that I was trying to look for, which was presenting information in a very light and really comforting manner and reassuring and putting the patient first. So truly, it was a different audience from my first project, and identifying this audience and identifying what I needed to put in here and apply it. It was like taught to us in our classes. So it was very nice to apply it here. And again, this was also built with help from like our peers and feedback every week. So it's definitely really helpful, and I'll definitely like miss this like collaboration part once I'm done with the program. It was also really nice to see what everyone else was working on each week and their progress, and how everyone was different on very different programs and very different projects, but we all had like this central goal of biomedical communication. So yeah, the program has been an incredible experience so far for me. I think it really opened so many doors regarding what biomedical communication even is and what you can do with it. And I think it really helped me to find the area that I like to be in and what I'm really passionate about and how I can get there and what skills I need and how to build those skills. So it's really builds like that foundational level for you for whatever area and for whatever you want to use this program for. Because on top of like the traditional way of doing medical illustrations, such as like illustrations, as I mentioned before, we had like classes on comics, we had classes on like videos and audio and podcasts and how to listen and how to tell stories and, you know, in 3D and the workshops. So it was truly such a range of instructors and such a range of like areas for you to really find what you love and what you want to pursue. They really challenge what even is biomedical communication. So you can really find something that you truly are passionate about and like stepping out of your comfort zone, but also having that support from your peers and like doing this project and building a portfolio and collaboration with others. So my experience with the program so far has been really amazing in that regard.
Thank you so much, Carolina. And next, I'd like to introduce Talha.
Hello, my name is Talha. I am also enrolled in the program in this year's cohort. If you can go to back to the previous slide, please. So this was a project in the first first term, where we were tasked with showcasing blood flow in the heart, and you were given a template that also doubled as a reference. And I wanted to challenge myself because I'd been doing self-taught 2D, 3D art, but I hadn't done it in a while. So I wanted to challenge myself and get back into sculpting. So I sculpted the heart and I made a little video. This is a screenshot from that. So this project really allowed me to sort of get back into 3D sculpting and challenge myself in that regard. And then during the anatomy term, if you can go to the next slide, please. During the final project for the anatomy term, I created this poster. It's called Minatomy, and it showcases the smallest structures in the human body. And for this one, I wanted to be as medically accurate as I could possibly make it. So I just went and found references and papers and measurements, and I drew all this to scale. So if you can imagine this as a poster and a child putting their hand on the poster, they'd be able to see the smallest structures relative to their own hand. And this allowed me to really appreciate the sort of scientific side to biomedical visualization, which is, you have to find the references, you have to put in the work to actually be accurate in what you're representing. So both of these projects really helped sort of expand my scope on that. And my experience so far with the program has been amazing, because after graduating, I asked myself, do I want to work in a lab? No. Do I want to do research? No. So do I want to give up art? No. So this program really helped me combine my two skill set and really helped me focus up and really created more passion for medicine and biology that I'm able to channel now with art. So I really am grateful for that.
Thank you very much, Talha. Okay, I'll pass it back to Aideen.
Thank you, Talha and Carolina, so much for your perspectives. And I encourage our participants here today to take advantage of their presence and ask as many questions as you want, and get that perspective of what it's really like to be a student in this program. So I'm going to quickly move over to our Q&A slide, which again is slido.com today. For any of our late people who joined late, take a photograph of the QR code, it'll bring you directly into our platform today. Or if you open a new browser, we have event code today, BMVC06. So I'm going to call out the questions, and I see up top, before I ask the first question, I will encourage our participants today, while there are some people who were here attended our June session, many of the participants today are actually new participants. I do encourage you to go back to our UBC Extended Learning YouTube channel and watch our June session. And in this session, you'll see B offer up quite an interesting, very interesting slides on career prospects. We may not be able to get to all of that today, but I do encourage you to go back and watch that recording. And of course, top of the question is, and I'll pass this to you, B, what are the possible job opportunities, and is there scope demand for these skills in Vancouver?
So to answer the second part first, yes, there is demand in Vancouver. So for job opportunities with biomedical visualization and communication, it really depends on what your background is and what your interest is and what you make of the time in the program. Because we have such a diverse group of students who make up a cohort, and then they all have the opportunity to, attend different workshops and build different skills that they care about. There isn't just one set description of what a job or employment looks like after you finish this program. So for people who are already in healthcare, one of the trajectories that we see is people working in clinical care, and then taking this program and then taking those skills to better communicate with their own patients, with their colleagues, with students in those programs. We also have people who come from design and art backgrounds, and they, once they take the program, have the opportunity to work on creative projects that have a biomedical topic. So it might be freelance medical illustrating, it might be working with different biomedical tech companies, which there are several of in Vancouver, being able to have those science literacy skills of being able to research and know when to call a friend or ask for help or check in with a subject matter expert to make sure things are really accurate. But as Aideen said, I would definitely recommend checking out the other info session from June 1st, where we go through that. Claudia, did you have anything to add to that?
No, thanks, B. I think you've covered it. I think what we're seeing in the marketplace and industry are a number of startups with a biomedical focus, and they are actively looking for people with this background. They're often recruiting designers or software people, modelers without the biomedical background because they don't exist. And so we're really adding something that we see a demand for in industry. And so when we talk to those folks from the startups, they're quite excited about the skill sets that we're equipping our students with.
Thank you. And this is a nice segue. So for the person that's not in Vancouver, B, what are the opportunities available as a freelancer or self-employed?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have had students in the past take on freelance work, especially in illustration. We recommend that you use, if that's what your goal is, then you use BMVC as an opportunity to build up your own portfolio, because that's a very important part of finding freelance or self-employed work, is being able to demonstrate the breadth of your skills. Yeah.
Thank you. I can answer the next question, but if I would open it up to our students or B or Dr. Krebs, if you're aware of anything about financial student aid. At this time, there is no student aid available. Anybody add anything to that before I move on to the next question?
No, but I want to hark back to the previous question. I think Carolina had something to add there as well.
Yeah, I do. So I actually want to become a freelancer after this program, and I think it really has given me the confidence and also the knowledge on how to start and break into the field, especially since it helped me build a portfolio, and like talking to other medical illustrations that the course has brought and like asking questions about it and like connecting with them has definitely helped me where to start, and also the skills on like how to approach those clients. So definitely I feel 100% more confidence to actually break into the field right now. So definitely if you want to become a freelancer, it definitely brings you those skills and those confidence for you to start.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carolina. I mentioned student aid. There's no student aid available at this time. I don't see anybody has anything to add to that. That's fine. So the next question is, what digital tools do students use to become proficient in over the course of the program? And this person cites, Chris cites Figma, Procreate, Adobe Suite.
So we do provide the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite as the software license for the year in your tuition. That being said, there's no requirement to learn any software if you don't want to. We do, I mean, there is an expectation that students will become familiar with Zoom, because that's just the platform that we have all of our discussions and classes in and everything. But if you want to focus on traditional media, great. Like we are happy to support you in that. If you want to learn how to do digital painting and illustration on softwares, great, we will support you with that. Usually it's with the Adobe Suite or with other free software, just so that we can make sure access is easy for everyone. So Procreate, we don't teach Procreate specifically because it is only for iPad users and it is a cost, but we don't stop you from trying that if that's what you would really like to try as well.
Thanks, B. And I can add to that that our workshops are in response to your needs. So if we have a critical mass of students who are like, we really want that in-depth Procreate, like the iPad crew here has gotten together and we really need that Procreate tutorial, we'll organize it for you, right? We haven't yet done a Figma workshop, but we use Figma in the Hive. We're very familiar with it. If there's a need, people are like, you know, we want to use it for our prototyping, we'll do a workshop with you on that. It really depends on the needs. This is why we don't have software skills, hard written, hard coded, if you want, into the curriculum, because these things change so rapidly. And we want to be responsive to sort of industry changes, creative changes, and the needs of our students. Somebody else asked whether we teach VR, XR, mixed reality, photogrammetry. We have all of those skills. We have that expertise within the Hive. If there is an interest in having a photogrammetry workshop and how to do the post-production, we'll do that for you, right? So we have a lot of expertise sort of behind us that we can use to meet your needs.
Thank you. Caroline or Talha have anything to add about their experience in using software in the program?
I'm self-taught, so I've been using Blender for close to 10 years. I've been using drawing for 6 years, so I've certainly gotten more into it, and I've developed a lot more techniques during this course because there's, like Dr. Krebs said, there's mentors. So if for Blender, if I have a problem, I'll talk to our TA Ishan, who's wonderful, and he'll have an answer for me right away, and it's amazing because I don't just spend hours poring over videos and such.
Right. Carolina, did you come with software skills or?
Yeah, so I did have a background with like Adobe Studio. I mainly use Procreate in my drawings, but definitely like all the workshops with Adobe definitely taught me new ways to use the programs and definitely specific ways to use it for biomedical communication. I remember we had this wonderful workshop with a medical illustrator using Illustrator and how they like did how they actually draw those illustrations specifically for what they want. So it's definitely very, very helpful. And like whatever you want to learn, you can definitely take advantage of the workshops.
Great, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we have we have a question regarding accommodation of people. So is the course able to accommodate people with disabilities and illness, as in flexible deadlines, note-taking support, captions during lectures? And I apologize, we had a participant today that was looking for captioning for this session. Thank you for pointing out that we don't do that, and we'll work to ensure that that's something that we do offer in the future. In fact, perhaps for this recording of this session, we'll look to see if we can upload it with captions. But can I pass it over to one of my colleagues to talk about within the course?
Sure. So we are committed to having a diversity of folks in our program. And we, of course, accommodate for specific needs. So we have given folks flexible deadlines because, well, sometimes there's an illness and sometimes it's just life. And this is a certificate that is on top of everything else that you're doing. And so we want to make this certificate work for you, not the other way around. Not sure what note-taking support would entail, but we have had captioning during lectures for sure. And we've had, different modalities that we've accommodated our students with, really to make sure that those those needs are met. Miro, for example, is a fantastic piece of software that we use almost every session. And we fully acknowledge that for some folks with a neurodiverse background, Miro can be completely overwhelming. And so we have come up with strategies to accommodate those students so that they can work effectively in that environment. B, you want to add to that?
I think that, yes, absolutely, to everything that Claudia said. We We really are open to making it work for you. We just need you to communicate with us and tell us what you need, and then we can make it happen. We are very flexible. Even as Claudia said, we've had, you know, the summer and COVID have been pretty rough times for people managing different commitments, and it happens to everyone. We understand that, and if you just let us know what's going on or what you need, we can make it happen.
Okay, thank you. I'm conscious of time. I see lots of questions. So I'll encourage our participants today, if you see a question that you really want answered, just, you know, click on the thumb on the right-hand side and that'll push the question up. The next question is, given that this isn't an accredited medical illustration graduate program, what sort of barriers could one face entering the world of biomedical communications? Great question.
Well, that's an interesting question. And I think right now, when we created this program, we created it because there was a need for informed backgrounds in this space. We looked on LinkedIn and we found a lot of people calling themselves medical illustrators. And there were so many that it was mathematically impossible that they'd all graduated from accredited medical illustration programs within North America. There are some companies, some publishers who will have a strong preference for a medical illustrator coming from an accredited program. But the workforce, the environment is changing, and people are looking less for diplomas and more for skills and fit into teams. So I don't know that you would face barriers in that way. I think you can face barriers coming from any program, really. It depends on what the needs are very concretely. That being said, no, we're not an accredited medical illustration graduate program. We are a certificate that adds to your existing skill set.
That being said, Claudia and I have had communications with organizations, companies that historically do hire straight from programs like the University of Toronto or the accredited medical illustration programs. And when they found out about our program, they found out about what our students are learning and what they're doing. They have said that they're very interested in, you know, watching our alumni and looking to our pool of students as possible future employees as well, and have hired our students as well. So that's something to say. We are a new program. We are, you know, that we're only halfway through our second year. And so as people learn more about what our students can do and what they're learning, the more interest we're seeing, and it is really growing.
Great. Can anybody speak to the average salary range? Would I pass that to one of the students? Are they aware of that? Or for biomedical communication specialists in Canada?
I don't have that information on me right now, but I can look it up and we can put it with other questions, Aideen, later.
Yeah. And again, we invite students to connect one-on-one with you, Bailey, in the event that we do not get to the questions. Maybe this is a quick question, a yes or no. Does the course cover creative licensing?
So I'm not sure what you mean with the creative licensing part here. So
is that referring to software licensing? If so, yes, for Adobe Creative Cloud.
Adobe.
If it is something else, then I don't believe so.
Right. As you mentioned earlier, B, there is a year's subscription throughout the program to Adobe, to the Adobe suite. What kind of support is offered to build a portfolio for students who wish to apply to a Master of Science in Biomedical Communications at Toronto?
We offer portfolio critiques. We know that a lot of students are very interested in getting that master's, that graduate degree from an accredited institution, whether in Toronto or at the other accredited programs in the United States. And we know that they have very serious portfolio requirements. We're very familiar with these programs, and we offer portfolio critiques, and we offer a lot of assignments to help you build your portfolio. Both quick assignments to, you know, show your rapid sketching and prototyping that you can do within a couple of hours, and multi-week assignments where you can show your process and your refinement to then have something quite polished for your portfolio. Carolina, you probably have much more to add. Go for it.
Thank you. I was also really interested in coming into the master's program at BOT. So definitely that was something that was interest of mine. Definitely super helpful with the portfolio critiques. Like, it would just bring what we were working on and get like feedback from everyone. And it was so helpful. And also, like, we also had workshops of like live drawing, which was so helpful, from like specialists that have an incredible knowledge that they want to give. And also the anatomy course, of course, super helpful as well, to have that sort of background to really understand what am I drawing, to really make sure I'm like doing it medically accurate. So definitely super helpful to build a portfolio and just really take advantage of all the instructors and your peers to get that feedback.
Great, thank you. I'm going to jump some questions, and I forgive my colleague who's working in the background on this. I may just override. I just see a student who's asking if, see if this is work. Can I take the program without a STEM or medical background?
Yes, absolutely. We have students who, yes, come from STEM backgrounds. We also have students who come from purely fine arts or other, non-science backgrounds. We are happy to have people from any backgrounds here, as long as you have an interest in biomedical communication.
Absolutely. And I think that is a unique feature of our program, that we are so focused on team collaboration. When we assemble teams, we make sure that we've got a diversity of backgrounds in there so that the students within a team can support each other. So for example, during the anatomy and physiology course in the summer, yes, there's a lot of science to be learned. And in the team projects, you'll have somebody with a STEM and medical background, somebody with just a fine arts background, and then they learn from each other. And it's so beneficial for the team. And again, they're managing that team dynamic, managing the creativity within the team, and acquiring the skills and the communication skills to work effectively in that environment.
Thank you. And again, I'm going to jump, because some questions are very, they're very specific to that individual. So I'm going to try and find the questions that are more broad, and then if we can, we'll go back. But otherwise, we can, you can meet one-on-one with Bailey if we do not get to your question. We've got a student that's asking about, will you accept a photograph as a JPEG during the application process? Yes, you will. Okay. Are nurses, LPN, RNs eligible to apply to the program?
Yes, we currently have some nurses in as part of our student cohort, and in the past we have as well.
Okay, and this is an interesting question. Where did the need for the program come about? Who previously did animation visualization in years past?
Yeah, what a great question. And it takes me back to the wonderful creative time that we had sort of building this program and coming up with it. We saw the need because there is only one accredited program in Canada, and the landscape is changing. The ability to create digitally and all of that has exploded over the last 10 years. And we really wanted to create a program that can address that in a way that working professionals can upskill and add to their existing sets without committing to a master's program. And so we saw the need, we saw industry practices, and we saw best approaches that would work. And I mean, the government of Canada often does these labor market surveys looking at, like, these are the needs, these are the things that, the workforce is looking for. And we meet some of those criteria, like the collaboration skills, the creative skills, the communication skills that go beyond really the biomedical, but especially in this field, where often you'd have like a software designer and a programmer and an expert not able to communicate effectively because they don't speak each other's language. The programmer and the designer lack the medical background, etc. Our program will give you the background to understand the complexity of the field a little bit more and communicate effectively, and you build your knowledge in these various aspects of this work while still having your strong background that you're really building on. Again, I refer you back to our first information session where B goes through this beautiful set of slides with our ice cream sundae, where you come in with your ice cream flavor and we add our BMVC sauce.
That's great. Quickly moving on, this is a great question, and I know why this person is asking this question. Do you have to be an artist? Because we look at the work that Carolina and Talha just produced, right? I'd love maybe Carolina or Talha to answer this question. This person is an analytical chemist working in pharma, and although they're a great communicator, they can only do amazing stick figures. I can relate to that. So
my answer is absolutely not. You do not have to be an artist, because I think what is amazing about this program is that you have people in all different sorts of background and expertise. And we definitely all have all sorts of skills. And if you want to learn, you have so many opportunities to learn with the workshops and the structures and getting peer from your feedbacks. And I think it's also what I really loved about the program. It showed me there is not just one way of being a biomedical communicator. There's so many different ways that don't even involve illustrations. I loved having the podcasts every week and the workshops on audio and video. So definitely you don't even have to illustrate to be a biomedical communicator. And that's what I think it's so great. But if you do want to learn and if you do want to get those skills, definitely a great opportunity, because we're all learning together, and it's been amazing to see the levels of progress of our peers. There's this person, Yasumi, she had no background in 3D work, and absolutely amazing what she was able to create. I was such in awe of her. So definitely we all learning together.
Talha, do you want to add to anything there?
No, you don't need to be an artist. So my definition of an artist is you need to have a passion for art, and I think everyone in the program has a passion for art. And amazing stick figures, that's a passion for art. So I think you qualify, in my opinion.
That's great. Thanks, Talha. Okay, I'm going to do one last question, and this isn't actually a question, but it kind of gives our participants today the scope of interest in our students. So this is coming from Victor, who's currently at the UBC Vaccine Literacy Club, and Victor is looking to connect with our students. So Victor, we will pass on your information to Claudia, to Dr. Krebs, sorry, and B. But again, just for the participants here, just for you to see that people are looking for our students. And then I'm so sorry that we have not been able to get to all the questions. I do need to move on because I've got some important information about that application process and deadlines. And I encourage you again to connect with B one-on-one about your particular situation, because I could see a lot of questions were about that. So our application process has been open since June 1st. The deadline is coming up fast, August 31st. So we, we encourage you to apply as soon as possible. Before you apply, please do read our handbook, just so that you really understand this program, and there's no surprises. The requirements are a minimum 2 years post-secondary. Now, I did see one question there was from a high school student. Is that just too early for a high school student? Would you still be, I can see Dr. Krebs going, yeah, maybe.
It depends on the student, right?
Depends on the student.
It really depends on the student.
Yeah.
We do recommend having at least 2 years of post-secondary, just because the rhythm of work and the level of discussion and everything is different from high school. But if you think you can manage this, get in touch. We'll talk with you and give you some one-on-one advice.
Yeah, and you may have a portfolio that you can share with B, and and what your life experience is like. Okay, so and really, I know the group really look for your motivation to complete this program, what they are. Be really clear in what your expectations for this program are. Once you pay the application fee, which is $175, complete the application, which includes a letter of intent and a copy of your diploma, degree, or certificate. And again, as noted earlier, the committee will accept a photograph. The fees are $11,550, which is payable in 3 installments. I'll go into that in a moment. And again, financial aid is not available. If you're still not sure, here's Bailey's email address, Bailey, bailey.low@ubc.ca. Email her and she'll be happy to meet with you. So a little bit more information on how the review and acceptance process is. So the review will be held over the week of September 5th to the 8th, and then offers will start going out the week of September 12th. So you should expect to hear the week of September 12th, the status of your application. If you are accepted, deposit is due 10 days after your acceptance to hold on to your seat. And then the next fee, the installment, will be due November the 30th for your first installment, and then the second installment, April the 14th. Again, I just wanted to give another opportunity for Bailey's email address there again. And that's all I have, which is a 1 minute after time. So I think we did pretty well. Again, apologies for not getting to everybody's questions, but again, do get in contact with Bailey for that one-on-one session. This session is recorded, and we'll have it up on our YouTube channel on UBC Extended Learning very, very soon. If you have any questions, that's our email address or phone number. And again, at this stage, I think it's Bailey that you need to connect with. So thank you so much to Bailey and Dr. Krause for being here today, and a special thank you to Carolina and Talha for sharing your perspective, answering questions for our prospective students here today. And thank you to my colleagues in the background and technical. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.